Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah! We got it! We got
New 52 booklet.
it! Somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm your host, Jared, and as I have been hyping up, we are entering the month of Snyder by discussing Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Gahoole. So let's bring in the boys.
I am Phoenix!
So Nick, how cool is it that Zack made an entire Screecher movie?
You really had to head me off of the path with that, didn't
I
you?
knew you were going to say that, so there you go.
Actually, I was going to make an owl pun, but still.
Either way is fine. So, and then we got to bring in the other Snyder head.
All the hopes and dreams of Krypton live in you now.
Woo! How?
So, I just got to say right off the bat, this movie was a hoot and a half.
Of course you have to say that. Of course.
Oh, trust me, owl puns are especially mine. I mean,
well, what's actually kind of funny is here's why it's a little more on me to like this movie. My college mascot is an owl. So I was like,
It's writing on the wall. It's writing on the wall.
You could say Zack Snyder's a blueprint.
I mean, you do. I'm trying to think. I think the main character is a barn owl.
Mm-hmm.
But I did see some screech owls. I did see some screech owls.
How did you feel about the screech owls being in there?
Not enough Fletcher.
Of course. But so wasn't it kind of so? Am I wrong to think this movie has 300 but with owls? Because they literally have an armor up sequence where they're wearing Spartan helmets.
That was so cool, by the way.
It's almost like Zack
Guardians. What is your profession? Woot woot woot. And I can't believe I just did that. I cannot believe I just did that. You're welcome.
That's just Nick. So, yeah. And by the way, Nick, for that,
Batman doesn't do ships.
Wait, why do I get that one?
Because I wanted to give it to you.
That makes no sense, but okay.
It's not supposed to. It's my channel. But but yeah. So Teladia, did you watch the movie?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
For the first time watching, I really liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really liked it. I thought maybe, Zack, this movie might be a little bit of a letdown, but no.
It's Zack Snyder. How could you think that?
Well, animated films, sometimes don't tend to be the greatest if you think about it. Think about the past, right?
Mm-hmm. And they released, by the way, right now they just released a trailer for Halo Season 2. So we'll talk about that off screen. But anyway, that's probably why they went private on the Twitter. Thanks, Nick. But all right, so it's cool. So the plot of this movie is a young barn owl, Nick, you called it, is kidnapped with his brother and brought before this evil king owl, and they were supposed to take over, and they basically put them to work in the mines of Moria. Yes, I'm calling it that. So this is kind of like Lord of the Rings, but with owls.
I mean, the owls, they do yearn for the mines, so.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea, so one of the evil owls is actually a good owl, and he essentially lets them escape and says, go find the Guardians, which are basically like these great warriors. And can I say straight up the bat, I just love how, and Nick, you called it before we before we started streaming. Isn't it funny how this movie literally is Zack finds a way to put in slow-mo?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it looks good. I'm not critiquing it for it, but it is hilarious Just like nature, Zach found a way.
Zach found a way to make it 300. Well,
You did it, you son of a biscuit.
Yeah, exactly. What'd you think of all the slow-mo, Teladia?
Honestly, one of the coolest thing I've seen. Like that was probably one of the coolest thing for as an animated film. We've never seen a previous animated film where things
That
go
much
really
slow-mo, no.
Yeah,
So you could say Zack Snyder's the blueprint.
that's the third time we said it, guys.
Third time, hey, I have to say it. I also
It's
like
showtime.
my favorite shot is when it was like in the trailer or something like that, and it's probably in a clip you saw, Nick, where he's flying through a storm and it's like a vortex around. Hang on, I think I have the image that we can check out. Hang on.
The snowstorm.
Not necessarily the snowstorm, but here, I'll do this. All right, so let me just. All right, here we go. So here we go. There you go. Check that out.
That was the best. That was.
It's a still image, but still. Hey, what's up, Brucifer? Yeah, but yeah. Because what they show, I don't want to like play the actual clip because then I'll get claimed. But the water's like in a vortex and he's like flying through it. It's all in slow motion. He even did slow motion with like fire, and I'm like, the dude is a slow motion king.
That part was my favorite part. Would you believe?
Really?
Yeah.
What? Why is that?
Because just like you see the weather effect, and it's like going really, really slow, and you see the owls just go like, you see his wings slowly. I'm just like, Zack is a genius when it comes down to that. I'm just like, why isn't anybody else doing what Zack did?
Because no one is brave enough. But so what's interesting about this is that and Nick probably knows this as well. The thing you have to understand about fur and feathers and all that, those are really, really, really hard to do well in VFX.
I mean, to be fair, by 2010, they'd gotten a lot better at it. Like the first, like for example, one of the problems of The Incredibles in 2004 was realistic hair, and then Ice Age, the first Ice Age was the first movie with realistic fur. But to have fur and feathers, I would imagine is pretty challenging because you have to have like a wind model to like how they react to like wind and flying. So I would imagine this kind of movie where you have active fly because you have basically introducing a whole nother axis, project axis. sorry, I saw the opportunity, I took it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, and whole nother axes, introducing the Z axis to this whole thing, and it just complicates things even further.
Even with water, because adding water, like with that scene I just showed, that's like my favorite shot. That itself, when you have water interaction with fur and feathers, it's tough to make this look this well. And with a budget of $80 million, Zack worked his magic on this.
Oh yes, he did.
And by the way, it was kind of funny. So in the box office, it made 140 million. So it didn't necessarily like because of the idea is that you have to double it. But this is one of the examples that the former head of Warner Brothers made. He said because someone had posted on Twitter that like Zack's DC movies failed at the box office. And he goes, actually not true. We lost a little bit with the Owl movie and the one where they said they had the most monetary loss was Sucker Punch, but his DC movies were extremely profitable. So I'm like, okay, that works.
So you're saying that Zack actually did good?
Yes, exactly. And by the way, this movie came out in 2010. We get VFX this good in 2010.
And you know what makes it interesting?
What?
Was the fact in the 2010s there was really good animation films.
Really? Yeah, exactly.
Really good.
I mean,
movie.
Pixar was still on fire. DreamWorks Animation was still putting out like really good stuff because like 2010s. I'm trying to remember, when did the first How to Train Your Dragon movie came out? Like Shrek
2010.
So How to Train Your Dragon came out this year. Like I think the last Shrek movie came out like a few years prior. Like DreamWorks was still on fire. I think Fox Animation and Blue Sky were still a thing. You know,
But they weren't. But they weren't as good as what Zack did, though. That's the thing.
I mean, people like Fox Animation definitely were innovators for their time.
Yeah, I would say so. So
and DreamWorks definitely was right up there with Pixar in terms of like CG quality.
So we're going to so I have the plot pulled up. We're going to briefly read through it, and then we'll talk about our favorite scenes and our favorite clips in the case of Nick, and then we'll just in general talk about it. So Soren, a young barn owl, lives in the kingdom of Taito Forest with his family. Soren enjoys listening to his father's stories of the Guardians of Gahoole. In other words, the Owl Justice League. That's kind of what they are. Valiant warrior owls who fought the evil Pure Ones. A lot of this talk about Pure Ones, it kind of reminded me of like World War II level stuff.
Yeah, it's easy for writers to go that route.
Yeah, so they're knocked to when Soren and his brother Claude are knocked to the ground, like fall straight to the ground of their little tree. They're abducted by the Pure Ones and put to work in the mines. And then obviously, like I said before, one of the Pure Ones, who turns out to be a good guy, trains Soren and his friends how to fly. They go get the Guardians, and we get who knew that Zack Snyder could make an epic owl battle look cool? Well, actually, everyone that's a Zack Snyder fan. But the thing about this movie that I really like is that it still has like it's for the most part it's a kids movie, but Zack Snyder can still manage to make it look kick ass if you notice.
Yeah,
it straight up looks like it could be like a movie watched by everyone and still enjoyed, because there are some of those movies where when you're watching them, I'm like, or I'm like, yeah, this doesn't age well, or this looks a little too much like a kid's movie. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I mean, there's copious amounts of blood, so.
Yep, there you go. But I mean, now what's cool about this is that, by the way, this is also based on source material. I'm looking that up. So it turns out there was a video game of this, by the way.
I did not know that.
Of course there was.
I did not know that.
So hang on. This is based on, I'm trying to actually find the thing. It's based on the Guardians of Gahoole book series by Catherine Lasky. So somehow again, it looks like Zack likes to work with like a lot of like existing IPs, although now he's finally getting the chance to like.
Now he's making his own IP.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yes.
But and so here's the thing. So Legends of the Guardians was theatrically released in Real ID 3D and IMAX 3D in North America on September 24th, 2010. And whatever, it was accompanied by a new 3D Looney Tunes cartoon entitled Fur of Flying. The film grossed over $140 million against an $80 million budget, and it received mixed reviews from critics, which praised its dark tone, animation, and vocal performance, but criticized the screenplay and felt it did not live up to its potential. I think it did. I think it was fun.
Yeah.
That's just me. But so in terms of a sequel, there hasn't been anything specific about a sequel, but it's probably Salty goes, I was promised owls. Yes, and this movie delivers owls. Thanks, Salty.
And you are in for you're in for a hoot.
Yes, thank you.
The owl has called.
Yeah, initiate the owl calls. But the cool thing about this is that this movie being basically 300, it's like you got a small group of owls in armor, and again, somehow he makes a couple of owls like clawing at each other look like 300 with the whole slow motion. There's even slow motion fire. It's just all of this. It shows what Zack Snyder can do if you like invest. And I think that if this is an example of Zack Snyder's animation, imagine what his other animated project is going to be like the Army of the Dead animated series that currently is on hold, but the Army of the Dead, but the Rebel Moon animated project that's also on.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so if it's more of this, I think I think Zach is set up. So now I'm going to talk to you guys real quick. So what were your favorite parts? Favorite characters? So I'll start with Teladia.
So my favorite part obviously is the what's it called, slow motion in the rain. That's my favorite part.
Yes, mine too.
Right, and obviously the army scene where they're all like the 300 star. Like I was just like, yes, please, and that's my favorite bits of the film.
Who's your favorite character?
My favorite character, there's so many, I really can't pick a name, honestly.
I see. So, Nick, who is your favorite character, and what was your favorite scene of what you saw?
I'm like with Teladia. I don't really have a favorite character myself, but like as far as scenes go, I would say there's two that really stand out. The big one is it was foretold when they meet the echidna, you know.
Yeah,
by the way,
he keeps saying it was foretold.
By the way, if I swear, if they called him Knuckles, I would not be surprised. Knuckles is an echidna, so
yeah,
that's the joke.
Yeah.
But the other one was during the final battle, when his brother appeared and the brother had gone full Anakin Skywalker, and like if you watch the fight, every time he tried to attack him, it is very clear that the main character was like a whole different league of skill. Like he dodged every one of his attacks with ease, you know, and like you could tell the skill gap, and I really appreciated that. And just, I mean, I'm a writer, so I look at like character and plot point and that kind of stuff. So like, yeah, I really enjoyed that fight just because the subtle kind of like, the way he kind of moves easily says so much about his character, says so much about that. And as a writer, I love that stuff.
Well, yeah, and that plays into Zack's strengths, because I always say with Zack Snyder, he's good at the subtle type of storytelling, because it's like, here's an example. I'm going to bring in the Snyderverse here. With Man of Steel, there was this, and I said this on Snyder Queen stream, by the way, shout out to Snyder Queen for doing her first stream. That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
In the scene when Superman snaps Zod's neck, there was whenever I hear people critique it, they say, well, Superman could have put his hand over Zod's eyes. And I'm like, if you're paying attention in the scene where Superman is fighting Feora in Smallville, she has basically her hand is like this. She's holding him into the ground. Then all of a sudden, when his heat vision kicks in and becomes the beam, it knocks the hand away. So it wouldn't have like helped at all. And that's like Zack, and that's what I like about Zack's movies, is that he always, if you're paying attention, he always gives you an explanation behind like some of the behind the logic of his movies. Which again, that doesn't mean you have to like the explanation. It's just at least he's giving you an explanation.
Yeah, it's like, and this isn't even like a, oh, you need to have a high IQ to watch Zack Snyder. It's just basic film comprehension.
You
like,
kind of have,
guys.
Yeah, to a degree, and for the most part, the way it works, that you actually have to watch the movie, because a lot of people don't
like.
Watch the movie.
Sorry, with as many like dark fan theories they do for Marvel movies with like the smallest of details, that just shows me you can pay attention if you actually want to. So please shut the F up. Yeah,
it's like someone asked when I was on Sammy's stream, one of the panelists said, it was one of the critiques I saw of Man of Steel is they were like, how does, if Lois put the key to upload Jor-El to Zod's ship in there and then she just left, how does she have the key to put in Kal-El's ship to start the Phantom Drive? And then he said, Jor-El literally said, retrieve the command key.
And then there was like a a quick shot of her doing exactly that.
Yeah, it's like what Zach does is that he does. There are times he legit like straight up like explains stuff to you, but there are some stuff where yeah, he does leave it to your interpretation. That's part of the fun. That's why I like Zach's movies, is that they can be analyzed so deeply, and you can find all. I mean, I've seen the Snyder Cut 15 times. I'm about to start times 16, and there's still stuff in there that I notice now that I never noticed my last 14 times.
Hey, Jared, how would you say if I were to dig up a fan edit of the Snyder Cut where it's like just the Emerald Cut? Would you watch that?
Yes, I would. 15. I've watched that scene 15 times. But you guys agree with me? I'll start with Teladia. That's what's the fun about Zack's movies, is that you can put the way Zack's movies actually work. You get as much out of them as you put into them. In other words.
Yeah, and also like just basic film comprehension is kind of helps. Just like the key thing is like if I were Zack, I'd be like, did you even watch the movie?
There are so many times I've caught people making critiques about Zack's movies, and I'm like, well, if you actually watch the movie, they literally explain this. And it's not by implication. Yeah. It's explicitly explained. It's not like he's like leaving it up to people's interpretation. No, a lot of the stuff that they critique him for, he literally explicitly explains it.
Yeah.
That's just the fun part about it. But again, the really fun part about this movie particularly is hearing all of the actors, because if you notice, how about Captain Barbosa as an owl warrior?
You better start believing in owl tales, Miss Turner. You're in one.
Yeah, I just love that. Now tell me, what's become of my ship? Why, thank you, Jack. You're welcome. Not you. We named the monkey Jack.
Oh my god.
So I'm looking up the IMDb of this so we can go over like the people who star in this, because it's quite extensive in terms of the cast. Legend of the Guardians. Let me do this. So we have, all right, here we go. So Soren is played by Jim Sturgis. Noctis is played by Hugo Weaving. Digger is played by David Wenham. For those that don't know who David Wenham is, he was the Spartan that's telling the story of 300 throughout.
Oh my god! Movie. Oh my god! Suddenly, the title of this episode makes so much sense.
Yeah, I know. Abby Cornish plays O2 Lisa. Essentially, I'm trying to remember who she was. She was Jack Ryan's girlfriend in the movie, but I'm not exactly sure like what other she was in. Joel Edgerton plays the bad guy in this.
Who's Joel Edgerton again? That name sounds familiar.
He was. Let me pull up an idea.
The name sounds familiar.
He was Owen Lars in Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's Owen in the prequels.
Also, he's Owen Lars and Obi-Wan. Just wanted to point that out.
I said that. But okay. But yeah, so that's the thing about Zack's movies. He always brings in like the biggest talent, because it's kind of funny. I was showing my mom the trailer for Rebel Moon, and she goes, "Is that Anthony Hopkins?" Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. By the way, Alomir is played by Sam Neill.
Oh yes.
Yep. So
they do fly in herds.
Yes, exactly. And Nira is played by Helen Mirren.
She's a dame.
I swear, her performance really went fast and furious.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But yeah. So again, that's the other part, because again, Zack is one of those directors where actually at the Rebel Moon event yesterday, someone asked who's the guy that's playing, that's like who everyone wants to play Green Arrow of the Rebel Moon cast?
I don't know. Oh, Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah, Charlie Hunnam.
Rowley Beckett, Pacific Rim, brother.
Someone asked him, who do you want to what made you sign in on this project? And then he literally goes, who doesn't want to work with Zack Snyder? I'm like, good point. Good point. He makes
Like,
a
I
good
swear,
point.
as much as the studios are against him, literally the only thing that keeps him in the industry is like his great reputation of being so great to work with.
Fun fact: Charlie Hunnam was supposed to be in 300, but a scheduling conflict made him not able to make this movie. And then as soon as he got the opportunity for Rebel Moon, he was like, "Nope, I'm down. Let's do this."
Yeah.
Which no one can blame him, because again, the thing about Zack Snyder is that he treats everyone like family. I think that's why everyone loves him.
Jared,
Mm-hmm.
imagine if Zack Snyder did Pacific Rim 3.
I think he could do that. He could do it really well, because I think he gets like, part of the reason why Pacific Rim 1 was so good is that yes, they had weight, the Jaegers actually had weight, but also the camera angles were like from the street, from rooftops, so it looked like you were actually watching it.
Yeah, so scale, like, yeah, Del Toro's obsession with scale, and you can just tell, like, Del Toro's presence was clearly missed in the sequel.
Yeah, because in the sequel, they're like running like the Flash. They're jumping off a bit. Nothing has weight. The camera angles are just like suspended in midair instead of on top of something.
And the other thing about Pacific Rim was the backstory felt impactful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in the first one. The second one, it was more like, eh.
Yeah, like all the answers for Pacific Rim, like there's so much background information. Like, for example, why did they punch kaiju instead of just, like, razor blades or whatever? Because the blood of kaiju blue, is incredibly toxic and expensive to clean up. So that's why they punch him, to create internal bleeding. And it also explains why the Chinese Jaegers use blades, because they're so rich that they can afford to clean up the kaiju blue. Like, I love that kind of storytelling.
Again, Del Toro is one of those. Del Toro, Nolan, and Snyder are those directors that if they make a claim in a movie, they will back it up with, like, in other words, they tell and show. They do both.
Imagine if Del Toro and Snyder teamed up for a movie.
Swamp Thing. I could see them doing Swamp Thing together.
Oh my god!
I can see it.
No.
Wait, no. Hang on. Zack Snyder and Del Toro's Justice League Dark.
Oh, no. I got you one better. What about a Mad Max remake, produced by George Méliès and directed by Zack Snyder?
I could see him doing that. That would work out really well. What I still want, this won't happen, but I still want it, a Zack Snyder Amazons movie. Because he could basically do that like 300, except use like all the same actresses from like Wonder Woman and such.
Yeah.
But there's any number of things that we could see. But anyway, going back to this, by the way, I have an homage to this if you guys want to see that. Hang on. So what I got is, you know that wallpaper I have on one of my computer screens that's like this? If you look over here, hang on, I'll lower the banner real quick. Look at right here.
Where?
Look at the bottom right, the bottom left of the screen.
Bottom left?
Left of the screen.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll see what you did there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
By the way, can I say that is the most Jared wallpaper ever?
I know, right? It even has the black suit Superman, but it's the black suit from Man of Steel. It works, and you got the dark side in the corner. But yes, that is the most my version of wallpaper. But so let me ask you guys this: of the stuff that you've seen, where does this movie rank among the other Zack Snyder movies that you have seen? I'll start with Teladia.
If I'm honest, probably 9 or 10.
No, I mean in terms of like, where does it rank amongst the other movies?
Yeah, I'm talking about in between, because in terms of DC, the DC films that we watched.
So in like 9th or 10th place, or
yeah,
okay, that works. So how many movies has Snyder done?
He's done
Not enough. Not enough.
True.
not enough.
That's
I'll
the purpose of the
do-
stream. Mhm.
Altigu, we got to do 300. There's so many. So
So
we done it?
technically, we could say 300 is Legend of the Guardians, but without owls.
Sure.
I had to. But what were we gonna say, Nick?
So in terms of me, I honestly like this film was like cool, but definitely didn't really connect with me that much. I would kind of rank this at the bottom of the list, but here's the thing: the worst Zack Snyder film is still better than like most Marvel films. So
It's better
It's
than
not-
99% of Hollywood right about now.
yes, very much. So don't mistake my my I can't think of a fancy word for I can't think of a different fancy word. Oh, sorry, I failed you.
Yeah, so in other words, I think what Nick is saying is that just because it ranks at the bottom of the Zack Snyder movies does not mean it's a bad movie.
When compared to like the greater film landscape, definitely.
Particularly the greater animation film landscape, because again, this plays off to Zack Snyder. Because here's the thing about this movie, as it relates to the other Snyder films. And Nick, you said it when we started this stream. His movies age really well in terms of VFX and animation, like extremely well.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd rather watch this than any Minions movie.
Wow, Nick! Wow.
Wow.
I never thought that's a drop I need is the Owen Wilson going wow. But
Wow.
I agree with you because for one thing, the Minions annoy me because it's they're like the Batman Who Laughs, where they showed up in everything, so they got really annoying. I'm like, no, stop it.
Stop it.
That's my issue. That's my issue with the Minions, in that they were used too much as a marketing tool.
Yeah.
By the way, I wanted to add, here's the scene but that Teladia is talking about when they're in the rain. I just wanted to like highlight that. Look at this.
Yeah, it's good.
This is exactly my favorite scene.
Yeah, I know, because again, making rain simulations and fur simulations interact that well, yeah, that is like one of the toughest things to do.
Now I got a question for you guys.
Yeah, what's up?
Can you imagine Zack Snyder making a Power Rangers film?
Yes.
No.
But
no.
Let him
No.
finish, Nick. Let him finish, Nick.
but in the style of Owls of Gahoole.
No.
Like animated?
No.
Kind of, yeah.
Why no, Nick?
Because Power Rangers is a franchise that has like particular things where like you kind of need to at least be a little bit of a fan to really understand it. And without it, most people just do generic superhero slop. Like that's what we got with the 2017 film, which I enjoyed that film.
Me too.
But it has a lot of problems, especially from like an adaptation standpoint. And the problem is most people just don't get why people love Power Rangers. And I feel like Zack Snyder would fall into the same trap. No offense to Zack Snyder, but I just don't feel like you have to understand why people love Power Rangers in order to make a good film. And most people just don't.
Okay, that's understandable. That's reasonable. How about, let's see. How about Zack Snyder doing a Daredevil and Elektra movie?
Yes. As long as he's doing the Frank Miller run.
Which, yeah, judging by his taste in comic books, I think he'd be down for it. He even has, I believe Frank Miller gave his approval, personal approval for 300 and all of Zack's stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hear me out. It's a Daredevil 2. It's a sequel to the 2003 film.
No.
Ben Affleck comes back as Daredevil.
No.
By the way, Dave brings up a good point. This movie, Legend of the Guardians, is to Zack Snyder what Happy Feet was to George Miller.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it's even from the same. Because, again, You have to. What's interesting about this, about watching Zack's earlier movies, that this is before he had the type of pull he has in Hollywood now. Like, it was like, I think this was even pre 300, I believe, right? Or was it after?
I'm not sure.
See, this came out in 2010. 300, actually, 300 came out first. 300 was in 2006, and that movie still looks good.
But I do feel like Dave's comparison is right on the money. So.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. Even 300, which was in 2006, still looks fantastic.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just kind of the thing with Zack Snyder's movies, where it's like they still hold up.
Where, actually, what happened? I believe happened is that 300 is what made Zack Snyder the name that he is now, and then he just kept adding to it until, obviously, when he got to DC, that's what really like solidified him as like the director. I'd argue he's kind of the Christopher Nolan of the time in terms of superhero movies.
I would argue his remake of Dawn of the Dead is what put him on the map.
It started it because it definitely contributed. Let me put it to you that way. I'll give you that.
Because you got to realize, when Dawn of the Dead came out, we were in the midst of like all these crappy remakes. So to have a remake come out that like was actually pretty decent, like that actually took people by surprise. Like,
and by the way,
Snyder's remake was the exception to the rule.
And by the way, we will be covering Dawn of the Dead this month. But in the meantime, Dave says, Frank Miller said Zack can adapt Dark Knight Returns anytime he wants. There was a rumor Zack wanted to do that instead of BVS, but Warner Bros. Wanted to focus on the shared universe. Yeah, even he said if he came back to DC, that would be the way to get him back to DC. Now, I think what he was referring to, I don't think he was swearing off DC entirely. I think what he just said is that as it stands right now, under Warner Brothers, he would only come back to do Dark Knight Returns. I think that if Netflix got the Snyderverse, he would do it.
And I think that if Marvel courted Zack to do like the Frank Miller run of Daredevil, Frank Miller would be fully on board.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Netflix did acknowledge the Snyderverse to some extent. Right?
Yeah, how about that, by the way? And they said, we want to license it. So I'm like, oh, wow, really? So whenever anyone says, would Netflix really want to do that? Yes, they would. Yes, they would.
I mean, Netflix very clearly knows what they have. So
yeah, they literally said, more Zack Snyder is good for everyone. No arguments there. And Netflix recognizes a good thing when they have it. That's what I'm going to tell you there. So in terms of, what's up, Nick?
No. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But so in terms of like, so let's briefly talk about what the rest of the month is going to look like. So again, we're doing Zack Snyder month because here's why. Rebel Moon comes out December 22nd, and we will be doing a movie night stream talking about it. We may even do a watch party. I'm still thinking about what I want to do with that. The point is we will be discussing Rebel Moon. So what we're doing is we're covering all of the Zack Snyder movies that I didn't get a chance to cover previously. So next week, which may be on Sunday instead, which are probably going to be on Sunday instead of Saturday. But the point is, we're going to be covering Army of the Dead again, but we're also going to be doing Army of Thieves, which is the it's the prequel, not directed by Zack, but still heavily involving Zack. That's like a prequel to Army of the Dead. It talks about Dieter's origin, so we're going to watch that. We're going to do Rebel Moon, and I believe we're going to do, I think we are going to do Dawn of the Dead, right? I did say that.
I think you did.
Yeah. So it's going to be the month of Zack for obvious reasons, which everyone's fine with that. So there you go. And by the way,
no issue.
Thank you to Teladia. I let Teladia and JJheat be the arbiters of this month's movies because Nick and I basically chose for the past couple of months. So it was like, okay, they wanted this. So I'm like, you guys know I would never say no to Zack Snyder. Dave goes, Dawn of the Dead was excellent. It's very different from the George A. Romero original and probably should have been called something else, but it's a fantastic horror movie on its own merit. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is why we're going to cover that. When it
By
comes
the
to
way,
Army of Thieves.
I want to share this real quick. Zach is being a beast right now because he shared a picture. Netflix is sharing a picture of him with a barbecue with an apron and says Papa Snyder.
Papas.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
Let him cook. Literally, let the man cook. By the way,
They-
a bucket
they
list
do it.
item is to go to next year's Snyder Con. That is a bucket list item.
Netflix knew what they were doing when
Yeah,
they said, let him cook.
yeah, exactly. In fact, it was the Netflix account that called him Papa Snyder.
Oh dear Lord.
There you go. So, so again, movie night next week is going to be on a Sunday, just because I have like a scheduling conflict. But to continue the discussion, so basically the movie's great. I give a basic salute to all the rebels. Hey, what's up, KLL? And yes, salute to all the rebels. In fact, I will give you this, my friend.
What is your profession?
There you go. So to continue this, let's talk about other movies that we would want Zach to work in. And obviously, he's doing Star Wars already, technically. Now, what else would you guys want to do? Maybe a Saving Private Ryan remake?
No, I mean some other World War II movie, but like I don't know. Saving Private Ryan. It feels like that's the movie that shouldn't be remade.
Okay.
I would like to see The Mummy remade.
That could work. He could really roll. They tried the Mummy remake with Tom Cruise, and I think that didn't work. So they're like, let's like abandon. But I feel like if Snyder got involved, they would do it.
I don't know. I feel like Mummy and Mummy Returns, the Brendan Fraser movies, they just kind of nailed it. I don't know. To me, they just can't be topped.
Well, yeah, but if they remade the Tom Cruise movie, but anyways, but let's see what I got it. Zack Snyder could do a Red Hood movie.
Yeah, I could see that. But let's not. I mean, let's do something like outside of DC Marvel.
Ooh, Dave's gotcha. Escape from New York or The Thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. What? Oh, Zack Snyder's Alien.
What about Zack Snyder remakes Death Race?
That could be cool. I could definitely see him like
I want to see Zack do a car movie, like a classic car movie, like Cannonball Run, or because like the Cannonball has become kind of like a big thing again. You know,
Zack Snyder's 300. Speaking of, sorry, Zack Snyder's James Bond. That could be a good car movie.
That's only a British thing. That isn't a, you know.
But he could work with Henry Cavill and make Henry Cavill James Bond.
Of
Don't
course,
tell me you wouldn't want that.
they really only hire British directors.
They only hire- yeah.
And the thing is, Bond is a very British thing, so like I feel like Zack Snyder couldn't
All right.
get enough British.
Zack Snyder, Jason Bourne.
Okay, yeah, sure.
We could have someone go, "Oh my gosh, it's Jason Bourne." I don't want to curse on the show, but
Yeah,
still.
I gotcha.
So if we're not doing Marvel or DC, honestly, I could see Zach doing. I'm trying to look around my graphic novel.
What anime would you like to see him do?
Attack on Titan.
Go 13.
Mm-hmm. I got one. Zack Snyder's Spawn. Todd McFarlane would never allow that, but I'm just saying, in the multiverse where anything's possible, Zack Snyder's Spawn.
Yeah.
Oh, I got one, and someone DM'd me this last night. Zack Snyder's Ninja Turtles, because he's a big fan of the original run.
Dave the Impaler has an amazing suggestion.
Yes. That is the top option right there. Metroid.
Okay. If we're gonna go into the video game realm, Zack Snyder, Metal Gear Solid.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Just shut the F up. No, Metal Gear Solid.
Okay,
Gears
that
of
could
War.
work. I would like that.
Halo.
Ooh. Halo.
No, Kal-El has the perfect pick. Kal-El. Yes.
TMNT, The Last Ronin. Yes.
Jared, you're
Yes.
familiar with that storyline, right?
Yes, I have it and I read it. It's so good. Yes. Hell, because Zach liked a lot of samurai stuff too, so I think he could really like bring that to life really well. That's a
But
fantastic
what do you think about
idea.
a Zack Snyder Metal Gear Solid movie?
I'd be fine with that. That would work.
It has slow-mo already.
Zack Snyder's Halo, because that's conducive to slow-mo every time a warthog goes on a jump.
Let's be honest. In Zack Snyder's Halo, Master Chief is never taking off his helmet.
Oh no! He, in fact, what you could probably see is like slow motion, like water bouncing off the helmet. I'm just imagining that. I think that would be great. How about and Master Cheeks would never be a thing.
Yeah.
In that case, can we get Ben Affleck as the Master Chief?
Sure, I can see that.
but
all right, who are we getting to play Solid Snake in Zack Snyder's Metal Gear Solid?
It's a good question.
Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, because I could see that honestly.
I don't know.
I would know because I haven't played that many Metal Gear Solid games. It's just not a franchise that really interests me.
I got a good one. Zack
What?
Snyder's Armored Core.
Oh
no, I got you one better. Zack Snyder's Bloodborne.
I don't know what Bloodborne is, so I can't really weigh in.
It's basically Dark Souls, both for the PS4, but with a focus on like element horror.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan as Solid Snake.
Thank you. I'll take that.
A little bit too old, but possibly.
Yeah, but Teladia, I like that Zack Snyder's Armored Core.
Actually,
and Nick would freak out live on stream like he did when they announced the new game.
Actually, speaking of Jeffrey Dean Morgan, actually I have the perfect Solid Snake. Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. That is.
He's got the build. He's got the presence. He's got the charisma. I think he would be a perfect actor for Solid Snake.
Yeah, I got to give you that one. I got to give you that one. Who would voice Mikey if he did The Last Ronin?
You gotta remember, he's got to be funny.
Maurice LaMarche.
I don't know who that is, but see, here's the thing, Teladia. He was Dave.
Knowing how like complicated the geopolitics of Gundam is, I could just see Zack Snyder totally respecting it too.
Oh, how about Zack Snyder does a Godzilla movie for Legendary?
I could see it like. I wouldn't mind him seeing him do like a Gamera movie, but though I feel like I could see him doing a really good King Kong movie.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so see, here's the thing, Teladia. Remember, in The Last Ronin, it's kind of a more darker story, so he doesn't necessarily have to make Mikey like funny.
Right. Yeah.
There's certain parts of it where you can go that way, but you don't necessarily have to.
By the way, I'm just letting you guys know, Zack Snyder's video is making me hungry.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, I am getting pretty hungry with him.
Oh, this was a mistake.
What?
It was a mistake.
Okay, but
you're like,
I don't know what that is.
No, mistake.
Okay, but
dude's making steaks. It's a pun.
Oh, okay. Now I get it.
All right, yeah, I guess that makes sense. But on that note, I'm starving, so let's go ahead and wrap it up here. It's kind of a shorter stream, but there's not much that we can really like chat about on this.
Yeah.
We were admittedly kind of unprepared for this stream. We'll do better with the Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves movie. But so in the meantime, remember, okay, so Army of Dead, Army of Thieves. On Monday is Super Wonder Legacy. Britt and I are talking about the Super Wonder merch. On Wednesday, I'm talking about the newer series launched by Jeff Johns called Gamma, or like, I'm forgetting exactly what it is. That's how tired I am. We'll announce Under Two Caves when we get there. And yeah, that's it for Comics Day. Teladia, where can we find you and what have you got coming out? And what's up, Brown?
So you guys can follow me on Twitter at Teladia Plays _. And I've got coming up is Monday, I've got a collab with Pika Shades, as we talk Marvel Spider-Man 2 spoiler talk, a review of it. Tuesday, there's no stream on Tuesday. It's a day off for me because I got to work on thumbnails for Wednesday, which is Justice League with Jared, as we cover New 52 Justice League by Jeff Johns and Jim
Yeah.
Lee. So I need the
Ooh.
thumbnail and the image from him this weekend if he's gonna prepare to get me
Mhm.
that all sorted. And then obviously we got Thursday. I might be doing some collabs with Sil Abdul. Gonna be talking some gaming with him. So there's stuff there. And what else have I got? Oh yeah, of course I'll be on with the UTC as always. And then I'm on MME sometimes, with their stuff and
Forgetting
just
something,
interact.
brother?
Oh, and yes, I'm on next stream as well, of course, as always, on Saturdays. Sorry, Sundays, because it's. Sorry, I'm just a bit.
It's all right. It's all right, my man. It's okay.
So, Nick, where can we find you and what we got coming out?
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at the Phoenix Press. YouTube, the search the same. In a little over an hour, I will be joined by these two Chuckle Fricks as we delve deeper into Arkham Asylum. We're kind of getting near the end game with this one, so it's pretty sweet. On Monday, you got Avatar Rewatch. We're closing in on like halfway through the last season, so it's going pretty good so far. Wednesday, we got Comic Watch. We got a good little commentary. Also, I think it's safe to announce that the week after that, I will have a very special guest on Comics Watch. None other than Gabe El Taib. He has agreed to come on the show. We'll be doing that live on Monday. And yeah, it's good. It's going to be pretty sweet.
All right. So remember, everyone, stay heroic. Be on the lookout for next week where we talk about Army of the Dead, Army of Thieves. I'll reach out with a date and time that we're going to do it. But in the meantime, it's definitely going to happen next week. Happy Yule Snide. Thank you. Thank you, Dave. So on that note, everyone, stay heroic, and we'll be sure to see you in the next one. And remember, Warner Brothers sucks.